Yeah.
It was funny. I
For
just did
sure.
good heroin on Saturday.
Oh God.
And is your mic not on?
It might not be on.
I don't
Yeah.
hear you.
I don't think it's on. Let me see. I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
There we go.
That's better. There we go. Let's get this. Titans.
How long? It's such a short show
Yeah.
in the best way.
Yeah. Oh no, it's perfect.
And I had actually Rebecca, my old podcast producer who lives in New York now, is in town, and she came to the show.
Oh, really?
And I was like, she's like, we got to get going. I'm like, that was pretty long for good heroin.
Yeah.
And then she goes, that's 50 minutes shorter than any New
Yeah.
York bar show forces
I
you into.
know.
Like, she's like,
Well, it was so funny because I accidentally just did way too much time during the bucket, like during the hat.
Mhm.
I feel like normally somebody lights me, and I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna keep trying stuff out. And then I went off stage, and I was like, whoa, that was.
But there's like
Much
tossing
too
people
much.
up, and it was still fun, and
Oh,
everyone was
yeah,
into
for
it. But
sure.
the longest it's ever been still was like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, remember how long
No
Knit used to
stand-up
be?
Show needs to be longer than 90
No, it's
minutes.
super
Like,
concise, which is nice.
I remember going up in like the second, you do Knitting Factory, and they're like, we've got you in the second half, and you're like, can I go
Cool.
home for now?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll be up
and the
in
answer is
2
yes.
hours and 30 minutes for the remaining 20
Yeah.
drunkest people.
But you know what? People used to stay at shows like that. They weren't good audience members, but they were in their seats.
They were present.
And that is more than
Um,
now I think they'll just leave.
Yeah. Oh, so did you see Civil War?
Yes,
Lindsay?
I did.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
That's what we were just talking about, Civil War.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I loved it. I know people had problems, I guess.
My thing I was just telling him was that it was such a slighter movie than I thought. Like, it didn't have anything important to say.
No.
Like, it was literally, it was about war photography. It could have happened during any war.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, the specifics of the war were not that important.
I wonder if when
and
other...
I liked that.
Yeah.
I also did. I mean, that was my favorite thing about it was that it wasn't like, can you...
Yeah.
You
Isn't
saw
the
little
orange guy bad?
windows. Yeah, you saw little
Yeah.
windows into like how the world works now, which was fun. But yeah, I thought it was so smart to make it California and Texas because you're like, at first you're going in, you're like, how does that make any sense? But then because it was California and Texas, you're like, oh, it literally like there is no political like as if it was just Texas, you'd be like, oh, fucking,
Yeah.
Right.
fucking libertarians. Or
If
if
it-
it was
Right.
just California, it was like the fucking hippies. But because it was both, you're like,
Yeah.
you have no idea
It wa-
what is going on politically in this world anymore.
I think it was done super well. I think it was done to piss people off in the sense of like them wanting more.
Yes.
Like it wasn't like people wanted to go into it and be like angry and
Yeah.
have an opinion on
Have
the
a take, yeah.
opinion. But instead, I feel like they had such restraint
Yeah.
that everyone's just like, well, I mean, are you a liberal or not?
Tell
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
tell
yeah,
me
yeah.
whose side I'm supposed. Because if you say you're one
Exactly.
thing, I'll be on the side of the president that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yes.
leave office.
Exactly.
Okay, but like, what was Jesse Plemons like? What side was he on?
Right.
Okay,
It is
Just
funny
tell me
that
if he
if
was a
you-
Republican.
Because you don't have like explicit left, right,
Right.
applicable sides. People are like, no, tell me if I'm on the side of the guy killing people and throwing him in a ditch. Tell me if I'm
Yeah.
on his side because I might be.
You don't know anybody's morals.
But he has those glasses on. I don't like
yeah,
those.
and the journalists they weren't there about any they weren't on a side.
yeah.
They were
no.
On the side of truth.
The truth. But also I think then it became like a really interesting study of the I guess moral objectivity that you have to have
In
to-
theory.
in theory to be a journalist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotta say, like watching them dash around with all the soldiers, I turned to my boyfriend like 3/4 of the way in the movie, and I was like, I would not be good at this. This
Someone's
is-
like dying
this
at
is-
war, and you're like, this isn't for me.
I would not excel at this. Like following
For
directions in the middle of that. Like,
Oh, why do I'm also like, that's crazy that the soldiers still through all of this, they're like, come with
press.
us.
Well,
Press.
that's what I'm saying is like that's one of the reasons why I just like think our country is so funny because it's like of all the things that we're like and we will let these people into war with us and protect them with our
Yeah.
lives. They're
And then,
like the
a-
journalists.
all the other people on the other side are like, well, we can't shoot them. That's press.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That would be illegal.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Meanwhile, it's like it's just really it's the cognitive dissonance.
I really liked it. I thought
Oh, wait, is that my coffee?
the way this is
Can
your
I
coffee.
have that? Oh
Yeah.
my god, thank you.
I thought the way that because it's everyone's problems were always like, this isn't how it would look here.
Yeah.
And I wonder if other countries have that problem, because when we make 750 movies about weird wars in countries that aren't the United States,
Yeah.
where they're like, well, what about? But that was sort of what I took away was eventually it would devolve into that sort of thing. And I think California and Texas. I thought about it a lot and thought it might feel a little logical because they are two states that could operate independent, and also they're full of rich people,
Huge
and those rich
economies,
people don't give a fuck. They would just be like, what protects my interests in this moment?
Yeah.
And I could see California and Texas teaming up in
liked
large interest
a
protection.
little bit of world building where they like in passing were sort of like, and what happened in Florida? That fucking mess.
Right,
Like,
right.
Florida tried it too, but they
Right.
were not successful.
Like Florida can't figure out DocuSign, so they're not. So they're not in on the entire thing.
No, for sure.
But I don't know. I really liked it. Jesse Plemons has a weight to him.
Came in 3 days before shooting.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. I think the original guy got COVID or something.
Oh.
I thought someone told me it was
he just
Oscar
hanging out with
Isaacs
his wife?
was the original one day,
yeah,
and
that
it was
makes
like a
sense.
conflict, or he was sick and couldn't. It's not that he couldn't miss this, but he couldn't miss something else.
Something
And
and
then
so he has
Kirsten
to-
Dunst was like, "What about this
Yeah.
loser?"
Can any-
He's here.
he's dropping her
Yeah,
off.
My husband's
Yeah.
literally in the
He's
car.
just holding the purse right now.
I
Why
know.
not?
He is so particular, and I think the world needs one of that
Yeah,
at kind of all
absolutely.
times.
Yeah.
Where it's just very, very. Philip Seymour Hoffman was that. I haven't seen Jesse Plemons take on like
Yeah.
the leading particular roles like that, but
Right.
he's so good and at just sort of like, oh, this energy is here.
Yes, being that guy.
Kirsten Dunst was also so
She was
good.
incredible.
How
No,
far
yeah.
she came from Bring It On. I mean, night and day. That's like all I've ever seen of
This,
her.
this is in that same universe, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think of that. I think of Crazy Beautiful. I don't know if anybody saw that
Yes, of
movie.
course.
Okay, I just
I
wanna
liked
make
her
sure.
with Jesse Plemons and Fargo as a married couple. I thought it was
Yeah.
really fun.
No,
that
she's
feels like
a
a
great
dream for
actress.
people.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if they're married then. They probably
No,
were.
that's how they met.
That's how they met.
That's how they met.
Wait.
so funny.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
That's such an incredible. She is so good in that show.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
such a fun thing to watch and be like, now that's what I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
It's just absolute psychotic compartmentalization and burying.
I like that. I also like, and I hate being this person. I hate, and I don't like saying this, and I'm gonna say it anyway. I like that Kirsten Dunst looks like a real woman.
Yeah.
She looks like a real person, and it makes her acting so much more immersive.
I think she has spoke about this. I saw a lot of interviews for Civil War and stuff
Yeah.
where it kind of alluded to her saying
We'll
she
talk about-
she didn't explicitly say that her career disappeared for a little bit there because of this, but she was like, I don't know if I always got the calls that other people got because I was not as worried about keeping myself looking 20 until I was 40 something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably legitimate, especially because literally going from like the love interest, the teenage love interest, you're supposed to like,
Ingenue,
yeah,
yeah.
you're supposed
Spider-Man
to
love
continue down
interest.
that path of like you're
Yeah.
a hot woman, so don't ever.
It's a
stop
big deal
being-
when you're finally a mom. Like cast as the mom instead of the daughter of someone
Yeah.
basically your
Yeah.
same age.
And even then, you still have to be fuckable. But she was just kind of
Absolutely.
like, she was like, but what if I'm just a journalist?
Meanwhile, it's like Jesse Plemons.
I know
You're
exactly.
like, people literally called you, and it's mean, Fat Damon, for like the first 8, like all through Breaking Bad and
Yeah.
through everything.
I mean, here's the thing. You will get called a lot of names, no matter like male or female in Hollywood, but
What are
you
some
could
of 'em?
still work.
There are more roles
I'm-
for unfuckable men than there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
You know, and he like sort of
sure.
made that his thing since Friday Night
Yeah,
Lights.
and
like-
you can. We could.
But
name
I do
five-
find him really sexy in a weird way.
Really?
Yeah. I think because he's so good, and especially in Civil War, I was like, he's looking svelte. I also am into a butterface. I really don't care what's going on above the neck. I really don't.
Interesting.
I'm always just attracted to that confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something about like in Killers of the Flower Moon. He has like such a gravitas. He showed up in that movie
Yeah.
and still had the energy above
Yeah.
anyone else.
It's true.
And you're just like, look at this guy here to do something.
Yeah. I mean, no, the confidence really does. It makes a difference. But see, let me ask you a question. Does the confidence only make a difference with men, or does it make a difference with women? Because I want you to think of an objectively ugly woman and who has like unparalleled confidence. and then you tell me if that makes her hotter or just a cool person.
Are you saying like are there times I've found like Kathy Bates hot?
Yeah.
But the thing is though, like even the like quote unquote unsexy women that like play these character roles, they're just bigger. Like you look at like the face is still usually like giving, you know.
Usually. But I would like to see it now.
Kathy's probably like one example where like she is a rough
well, I liked
lady.
her confidence in Misery.
Yeah, right.
She was really
You're telling me she has a queen size bed?
Yeah.
Wait, let me ask you guys this. Is Glenn Close, and this has just evolved into superficiality, is Glenn Close considered conventionally attractive?
I think I found her attractive when I was a kid in 101 Dalmatians.
Really?
I think like Fatal Attraction and all of that.
Right.
Stuff,
Well, I know that we're conditioned to think that, but I watched The Big Chill last night, and
I think she was considered a beautiful woman in the same way that like Meryl was. Like they're handsome women.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Striking, handsome women.
Striking.
I don't think like sex pot.
I think I'm just attracted to anyone who's confident and is good at something that they like doing.
Yes,
that's like all it takes.
I fully agree. I always wonder about just like perception, though. I think too much about what other people think, and
the
so
standards have changed since
since
like Basic Instinct and stuff like that. Like when or Fatal Attraction rather. Sorry, I always get the two confused. But like Meryl is another great example of someone who's like beautiful and still is, but like not by the standards of like she's not. They're not like Megan Fox sexy.
Yeah.
You know?
And who is?
Yeah. I sat at a table with her at the time 100 dinner, and when I tell you, she at one point was eating and then took her fork or her knife and used it as a mirror to adjust her hair.
Sick.
And I like literally, I hadn't spoken a word to her. I was like too intimidated to say anything to her. But at that moment, I was like, that was the most iconic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, that is something was anyone watching?
Other than me? No.
Incredible. I like seeing pockets of people where you're just like, I'm very impressed how you are alone.
Yeah, yeah.
I love watching people when they think nobody's looking at them, or like when they're alone and they don't care if anyone is, and they're just like, this is just what I do. Because I feel like I'm wearing Mickey Mouse hands like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like doing if I'm like.
The second there's eyes on you, it's all difficult. Yeah, the second
there's eyes on me, I'm like, rah, 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 rah. Like I feel like such a like everything I do is like a freak move, and so I love when watching people just like the ability to just like. I just learned that you can look in your phone at the camera and use it as a mirror, and that's acceptable in public.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, because it's showing you.
I didn't know that.
I'm like so blown away by that. I don't know how to tell you that's right.
I know I had to do that privately. I always thought you had to like pretend like you weren't looking, like you had to hide it. And people are like, no, just look at your fucking face, you freak. And I'm like, okay, I mean, now that you gave me permission.
I don't know. I'm attracted to everybody in movies.
Yeah, that makes. I know. I.
Yeah, you booked. Like
it's just the insurance that gets me.
Yeah,
I'm really, really attracted to someone I know probably has insurance.
Sure.
But pretty much everyone.
No, I mean, there's a lot done to make you attracted to them.
I'm rewatching Mad Men.
Oh
right now.
I want to fuck everybody on Mad Men.
Every time I watch, this is probably the 4th time I've seen the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm like when I was really, really down post surgery, I put it on. Like I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. I was like, what's sort of like a show I can read? And so I put it on then. Yeah. Every time I watch it, I'm just different people are different attractive to me in different times.
Talk about never seen it.
You haven't seen Mad Men?
Never seen a frame of that, Breaking Bad or The Wire, and don't care.
Okay, I mean,
that's more than
fine.
I'm never going to hold it against someone to be like, am I too late to put 96 hours into something?
Well,
yeah, maybe.
And the thing is like it happened. I think the problem is that it was at a time when like shows that on AMC were not easy to access.
They're still not.
Yeah.
You need a subheader of Apple.
But for some reason, I just like it was like pre-streaming in the way that it is now, and I just like didn't have the energy to go and access it. Didn't have a TV, only had my laptop. Like probably could have pirated it if I really wanted to, but I don't know.
Then that's so much because sometimes you pirate and you're like, oh, this is like 480p,
right?
And now I have all of this. Am I going to retry it for a higher quality?
Exactly.
Oh no, I haven't seen The Wire. That's what started this whole thing.
Oh, that's
it's too long.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sure it's great, but the second I really put a lot into seeing something and then it's Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to read 4x3.
Right.
I don't know. It's a lot of time to commit. When I could just be staring at something. I'm not looking to like consume Mad Men and feel the same thing I did the first time I saw it.
Sam J has my favorite joke about Mad Men, where she's like, I didn't understand why like straight white men were so upset, and then I watched Mad Men, and I'm like, oh my god, we took everything from
Yes, that's right.
This is how you used to live. Like, it's the best joke. Funny. It's so true too.
It's also how I'm reading a book right now that is like in a similar vein of that. And then I also, when we watched The Big Chill last night, I had never seen it, and it's just like baby boomers like slice of life thing.
I love The Big Chill.
I liked it a lot, but
I don't
it
know
was
what that
also
is.
like it was like it was the first time
When is this movie? What is this?
It's from
like all these college friends like getting back together.
Slice of life.
Yeah, it's
somebody kills themselves.
It's people talking. It's people talking.
I like that.
It's people in one house talking, and they're like
could have been a
like,
play, but it's a movie.
quote unquote growing up, but it's like baby boomers, and I was like, wow, like I guess I get why my parents went into corporate America.
It's more and more difficult to enjoy Mad Men because they do throw around the numbers of how much stuff costs.
I know,
and they're like looking at a house on 82nd and Park, which is too far north because you're close to, they're just alluding to like, they're just racist. And they're like, who could live this far north at 82nd? And like, I could not imagine spending $30,000 on a 4-bedroom apartment. And then you're like, oh, I forgot I know Pete Campbell, who's still alive now, clinging to a place, and I hate him.
Yeah.
And it makes it a little harder, but I also...
agree.
That style was very in because of the show, and then lingered after the show came out for a little bit.
Oh yeah, because like every broadcast network tried to do their Mad Men. They had like the Playboy Club and Pan Am.
Pan Am. That's what it
was.
Con Air. Con Air is what I was about to call Pan Am.
We were like really
I was
fascinated.
Picturing the hairdryer.
We were really fascinated with
that
Con Air.
with that era for sure.
But now those aren't the suits that are in style, and definitely not the skinniest possible tie in the history of the world. No, sometimes I see their ties, and I'm like, that's like a bolo tie that's wet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm interested in fantasizing about the 90s. Now we're into like romanticizing the 90s, I think.
Yeah, I'm into that though.
And and like the freedom of like, whatever business ideas then, whereas like now it's just a little too hard. The book I'm reading is the Kid Stays in the Picture, which is about like some like wackadoodle fucking producer that produced Scarface or something. But like the whole book is just like, I love pussy. Pussy loves me. I run into other rich people. They hand me jobs. I bought this. And it's like,
it sounds like a Bret Easton Ellis novel. Honestly,
I mean, it kind of is, and that's like occasional racist thing. But I do fuck black chicks.
But that's what he says. He says occasional racist thing. It's not actually something filled in there.
No, he definitely says like a boomer-esque type thing where you're
sure.
like, do I go there with you to explain why that's wrong?
Oh, I mean, I'm like, I see Mad Men. I'm like, I have it with captions on for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know that that's what they said about that group of people last time. They capitalized it in the captioning. And you're like, oh, I guess that was a thing.
It's tricky. It's tricky. Also, my parents were like New England white, like people that like fit in that world.
It just makes me feel like there used to be 90 people.
There did used to be 90
where they're like,
people.
we can't fire him because his dad is the president or something. Like
right.
Everyone is like 2 degrees away from each other. There used to be 90. If you wanted to be, there's a whole episode where a guy gets a story in the Atlantic and everyone is freaking out and they're like, he's the author in the world.
Well,
now.
you like being a fucking journalist or writer or like essayist was a reasonable profession.
Yeah.
To have.
That's crazy.
And then there was, I think the 90s, we might reflect on that for comedy.
Yeah.
You hear like Conan talk to people and he's like, they got their job because they showed up to 30 Rock twice.
No. I mean, it was like everyone could get a sitcom from a late night.
I wrote for The Simpsons because I did an impression of Homer at Hank Azaria on the subway.
No, that's exactly the vibe. It is like the heyday of of any industry that started out early aughts.
Like it feels like
is early aughts early 2000s?
Yeah.
Fuck myself.
Yeah, that's
early
20
nights.
years ago.
But like I feel like Mulaney is the last person to get like a true sitcom
He seems the last one who made the 90s path.
Yeah.
He did stand up. He wrote for SNL. He got on some things.
And got a multicam
sitcom that was his name, the show.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at it.
Actually, I don't know if everyone looked at it.
No, at least the billboard.
Yeah. Everyone viewed the cover.
I think that did seem like the point where everyone was like, oh, maybe this isn't how they are for this anymore.
No.
Because he so logically was the person based on like
television. You could come. That was back when like JFL New Faces meant you could get a TV show.
Oh boy, it feels like that ended.
That's pretty much how
hour before I got.
That's pretty much how it happened for Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
New Face into fucking All-American Girl.
I think I've talked about this on here, but when I did New Faces, 2016, 15, one of those, I took a bus with Jim Brewer, who is comedy friend of the world. Not anymore. But this is in 2015 before I knew anything he thought about anything. Or even before he probably knew anything he thought about anything. Yeah. And he told me about how he sold a show that never got made when he came to visit Chappelle at New Faces. He came to visit Chappelle at JFL. He wasn't even on the festival.
Yeah.
He's like, I came up here and sold a show at the bar and made a bunch of money one year. I wasn't even on the festival.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know if that's supposed to make me feel. I'm not even going to your hotel. But that's okay. Just for Laughs will be around forever. All right. I got a couple things I want to do on here.
Yeah.
We could catch up and recap things forever. But I was looking at the 3 movies that you had talked about never seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've enjoyed, because you've done The Revenant before as a script.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Revenant since then?
No.
I
what
don't
are the other
blame you.
movies?
Lost in Translation.
Same.
Casablanca.
Same.
And Interstellar.
Yeah. To be fair about Interstellar, I've seen bits and pieces of Interstellar. I try to watch it on a plane constantly. I've never I like will fall in and out of consciousness and like wake up and I'll be like, wait, Anne Hathaway is in this movie? Where has she been? And I've never consumed it in a way that I take it you really have to consume it.
I remember really liking it and then people telling me I shouldn't have liked it.
Well, you know how I know most of what's going on. You remember my show Fuck That Movie in Brooklyn with Anna Dresden. A show where I would have comedians come on and talk about a movie that everyone else likes but you hate. And I have never seen so many movies but know the overview of so many movies.
What did I do on that?
Yeah.
Was it Harry Potter?
It might have been Harry Potter.
I remember because I also remember that's when we saw the trailer for Zootopia and famously said it would be good.
Yeah.
It's like we're supposed to like make fun of trailers.
It's also fun because like Anna and I would go and see a bad movie and prep for as like the reverse conceit of the show where it would be like, let's go see like an intentionally bad movie and talk about it up top. And then one of our picks for the bad movie that we were going to go see to talk about on the show was Mad Max Fury Road. Because we just assumed it would be bad.
Yeah.
Like we just assumed it was like
30 years between franchise movies.
There's just no way. We were like, is this going to be Fast and the Furious in the desert? Like that's what we assumed it would be. And then we showed up and we were like, well, actually,
oh no, guys, it's
one of the best movies we've ever seen.
Is it really?
Oh my god,
so
it's incredible.
Good. It's so good. And Furiosa's great. We just saw that too.
I love Furiosa. I just went and saw that one.
Yeah.
And,
it was good.
I think Mad Max Fury Road, not only is it great, it has like stood the test of time as maybe the action movie of the century so far.
I should watch it.
Yeah.
If it's ever back in theaters, I'd sort of a sprint back to see in the theaters. And Furiosa I thought was really wonderful and
yeah, Anya has like 26 lines in the entire movie.
I love it.
Wow.
Barely speaks.
I am such a big. It's so funny these directors. It's him. It's who was the other director who was like, it's about showing dialogue is not important. I don't remember who just said this.
Villeneuve?
Yeah, that's right. And everyone's like, no, what about Tarantino? And I'm like, yeah, but his movies are that.
Yeah.
And Denis' movies, he's right. And what are we going to tell him to stop making them like that? You don't want this guy to make Dune 3?
No.
Let this guy do whatever he wants. And I loved Furiosa and have never in my life thought someone had more fun being in a movie than Chris Hemsworth had in
You know,
Furiosa.
I liked Chris Hemsworth. I found it charming. I thought it was good. I will say, tonally for me, there were times when it was a little too MCU. It was like a little too like
he's the Thor.
He was doing MCU comedy in a George Millar movie.
I could see that.
I was like,
he was consistent.
Yeah.
But he was odd that he dialogue-wise was by far the main character in the
Oh,
movie.
for sure.
And just was having a good.
No,
man just
I
seemed
laughed.
So happy to
I
be
thought
there.
it was No, I had fun. I laughed. I thought it was charming, but there were just moments where I was like, this is a little bit too much of that like MCU house style.
It was
yuck. That I think we've all gotten a little.
I mean, that same thing happened in
like,
Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Every movie
Every
has
sequel.
to be. Every movie has to be that kind of funny now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm a little over it.
I really, really have disdain for whoever edited the trailer for Furiosa, where I was like, you took the 6 shots that he had in his, like, the slow motion 6 shots from the movie that I honestly all thought, like, were fine in the movie, but you just pieced these together and it made it look a little more cheesy than the movie actually was.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's why it's not doing as well, or if everyone's just sad.
I guess I feel like I need to see these now.
Fury Road is...
Yeah, definitely.
They're both really, really
and you
good.
could actually watch them in either order, too. It really doesn't matter.
Is that the one
Yeah.
with Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
She's so hot.
Yeah.
In fact, it might be even better to watch Furiosa first and then go into
It
movie.
is
Oh, really?
of
Yeah.
a movie where
It's a prequel.
sometimes
so.
they make
Oh.
prequels and it's all about Easter eggs calling forward, and this did have that a little
Sure,
bit,
yeah.
but none of them that were pointless and
No,
not an
it
overflux
it
of them.
felt much more chronologically like you could watch Furiosa going into Mad Max, and it wouldn't be like, because Furiosa was not just all about like callbacks to the future. that
Yeah.
you'd like see.
If they
later.
came out in the other order, everyone would be really happy with where Fury Road started.
Yeah.
Like they would be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Interstellar, Lost in Translation. Lost in Translation is the only one I don't have a game for, but I liked one of those. I don't know, what do you call it, like hits you in the right time type of the age you
Sure.
are.
This
sort
is,
of.
and these are all movies that we did in for Fuck That Movie. Somebody would bring in these movies for Fuck
Yeah.
That Movie, and
I just feel like every dude. Sorry, I interrupted you.
no, it's fine.
No, I just feel like, and this is no offense to you, Kyle. I just feel
I
like.
won't tell anyone.
I mean, my husband's one of his favorite movies is Lost in Translation, and I feel like that kind of checks out just in terms
Sure.
of like art school,
Yeah.
nice person.
You don't like that he supports women directors. Is
I
the thing.
don't. I really don't.
I just
agree.
really struggle with movies where someone like Scarlett Johansson is supposed to be like so into someone like Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Like it really, I really struggle.
agree.
with it.
It's definitely
I really
a
struggle
lot
with
of a lot of times when it's like I always call it like the King of Queens wife,
Yeah, yeah,
where
Mhm.
you're like, well, let's see who wrote this. Oh,
yeah.
you're just writing out what you want to happen,
Exactly.
and you want to star in this,
And
or like
the
something
unfortunate thing, though, is that it's not that crazy. Like women are so damaged, and it's like have been so damaged by the world
no,
that
I
it's like
agree.
some of the pairings I see out there. I'm just like,
like that. Oh, we all do comedy.
and the way,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
way some of my female friends are like, but he's so nice to me, and
Yeah.
it's like that's where the bar is.
Yes, that is where
that's
the
where
bar
the
is.
fucking bar is.
That is.
He's just nice to you.
No, I
Yeah.
I agree. I think it is like unfortunately realistic to your point, but I also think that I don't like seeing it.
No, I don't.
yeah,
to
it's
be
like in
reminded
Lost
of
in
it.
Translation.
Yeah.
He just sort of listened to her 3 times.
Yeah,
and so
And
she's
it's-
like, I should spend all of my time.
It's
with this
why
guy.
the whole phenomenon of incels makes no sense to me, because I'm like, bro, all you gotta do is put some deodorant on and be nice.
I
to the
talk
lady.
about
Like,
this.
Exactly.
It's nuts.
It's so because I have a joke about. I think I just did it the other night. A good heroin about a guy who died getting penis enlargement surgery, and I was like, "You
So
die." I was like,
funny.
"Why didn't you just listen twice?"
Yeah,
like it's not really
exactly.
the hardest thing.
Exactly.
That's so yeah,
Um,
it's so funny.
I was at in Portland, and wonderful time, interesting city. Feels like you could become mayor with eye contact.
Love it.
But I was doing an
You
art
talked to the
walk.
right cat in that town.
I
You're
know.
there. Yeah.
I was at like an art walk around my friend's neighborhood that I was staying with, where you go
Aw.
in people's houses and they're selling their stuff and showing it off. And I went in a house, and there was a guy who painted D&D figurines, the tiniest little. This is incredible art. They're
Yeah,
so good, and he
yeah,
molds
yeah.
them and
Yeah.
does this all. And you're like, this is insane. But he was sitting in a throne with 2 what's the cockatoos, the white ones with the big
Yeah,
yellow thing that lived,
yeah,
and talking
yeah.
about how they're going to outlive him and be 90. And then his wife came in, and then we left. And
I
I
don't
told my
even-
friend,
I
I'm
don't
like,
even wanna know what she
there
looks
shouldn't
like.
be incels.
Yeah.
That guy has 2
Yeah.
birds and makes D&D figurines and owns a home with an
Yeah.
attractive wife in Portland.
Yeah.
True.
Maybe you know what he probably did? Learned about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Asked her a question.
asked her 2 or 3 questions
Yeah.
that week.
I mean, I'm not going to say that women can't be mean because they can be, but
Absolutely.
what I will
earned
say is that I think that men are pussies, and that's their fault for not being able to take being talked mean to.
Not even mean to.
No, I think I've seen some girls be cruel. And I'm not defending incels. I would love to be clear. I'm not defending incels. But I know that there's always like some hurt little boy, not in every incel, but just like I know I've seen some girls go very, very hard at a young age. And there's no way it doesn't affect their psyche. But I mean, also, don't be a pussy about it. Be a woman up and be mean back to them like all the other girls do to each other.
Yeah. All right. That is a fun thing to get out of Lost in Translation, though. I think I saw it maybe like senior year of high school, freshman year of college, and remember thinking, oh, movies can kind of. I was just very late to movies, like as a whole. My parents, we would watch, The Lion King,
for sure.
But then seeing a movie and thinking they can feel like this, like this isn't Field of Dreams or The Lion King, and you're like, oh, wild. And then you kind of want to go down that path, and then film studies classes, and you're like, oh, this is like a thing. It was like similar with stand up, where I didn't even realize that it was a world that existed until like college.
I feel like I found movies like that, but they were like the weird, like theater kid movies, like Camp.
Sure.
And
I've never heard of that.
Oh, Camp.
I missed a
early
lot.
Anna Kendrick.
Early.
It's just about theater
What
camp.
happened to Anna Kendrick? I don't see her and stuff anymore. Was it because she was earnest online?
No, I think it's because there are other reasons. I'll tell you off, Mike.
Okay. I don't know. I remember Up in the Air.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought that was
Oscar
about
nominee.
Yeah.
Anna Kendrick.
Camp Nowhere was another one.
Do you
that
only
I
watch
really
movies
liked.
that start with camp?
Yeah.
Camp Dread.
I'm like thinking about it now. I really wanted Friends. It was like a summer I really needed Friends.
For sure.
What year are we looking here? Aughts as well?
Yeah.
I
spent
missed.
early aughts, yeah.
I think I'm probably just a little bit older than both of you, but I missed. I'm 35.
I'm 36.
You're
bitch.
36?
I'm
Sorry, I just look
I'm
much older than both of
36.
you. Never mind, I just look much older than both of you.
I heard you say
I'm the only
35
one
on stage the other
putting
night.
a
I
hat
was like,
on.
Obviously.
I missed all of Hook and the Goonies. I haven't seen, and like that. What would you call those? Like early 90s, but for kids who were
Early
born in the
90s,
early
yeah,
90s
yeah.
type of
Yeah.
things.
But like, those are the types of movies that were on TV a lot.
I kind of missed a
Yeah.
lot
When
of
we
those.
were-
I don't
yeah.
know if it was because we didn't have like a big cable thing or anything, but also the TV through the
Well-
90s my parents didn't watch. But that is like where my biggest blind spot still is: Princess Bride, Goonies,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. I watched
Lost
a lot of
Boys
those
is one,
movies.
right? Like
well,
that.
our neighbor died at one point, and he had like hundreds and hundreds of VHSs that he had recorded movies off of the TV
Whoa.
from. So like
That's
a
fun.
million things, like the Goonies. That's definitely how I saw that. Working Girl.
Yeah. I only have my parents' only VHS they have anymore.
From the
is-
Goonies to Working Girl.
Yeah,
That's-
wow.
in one VHS.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We really
No, pretty
had
much,
A
yeah.
range of taste. We
Yeah.
had a video store.
Titanic takes up two, but the
Yeah.
Goonies and Working Girl is on one.
There you
I do
go.
remember Titanic being two VHS
Yep.
tapes.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
Did you guys have a video store in your
Yeah.
town?
Mhm.
We had a Blockbuster and Bob Our Dash, and then we had a Family Video, which
Family
I ended
Video.
up working at for 4
Oh,
years.
shut
Yeah.
up. We had a
Yeah.
Hollywood. Well, first we had
Hollywood Video too. Yeah.
Hollywood Video was what we had, but then we also had like a local video store.
I always
so
wondered
they
if
always had like
Hollywood-
the deep cut.
Yeah, and Family Video were the same because their font seemed the same.
Very similar.
A little Family Dollar jet
Family
tree.
Video was famous because it had a porn section, and I remember in our
Family
employee
Video?
guide.
That's
No,
so
no,
funny.
and there was an answer for that. There was like, what do you say when people are like, "How are you, Family Video?" And it was like, "We cater to every member of the family."
Even the pervert.
That's also aged really well now if you think about the genres
Wow.
of porn that get the most attention.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
Family Video.
Yeah.
True.
Now that's probably what they lead with.
Yeah.
We
There
all
was
just need
also-
to feel loved.
Missouri is so big on the side of the street porn stores. You know what I mean? Like trucker porn
Oh,
shops.
sure. Yeah.
Southern Illinois is big on that as well.
Yeah.
Those highways
Yeah.
there. And it'll be under like an anti-abortion sign.
Whoa.
And then you'll see the trucks parked there with like their pro-life, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everything. And then
yeah.
they'll just be, now they're still open, like now.
Whoa.
And I'm just like, how worried about like incognito browsers are truckers?
That's really funny.
We have a friend who was driving alone cross country and made eye contact with a trucker who then signaled for him to pull off and they hooked up in the back of his truck.
Whoa.
And I was like, you should be dead.
Yeah, only a man can
Absolutely,
do that.
you should be dead.
Kind of. It is so funny when something is on the razor's edge of romantic or death.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how a lot of movies start.
I should be dead 20 times over for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Well, same, but
it's actually shocking you aren't.
I know.
Statistically,
Yeah,
that you're still
statistically
here is a
Statistically,
marvel.
It is actually very odd.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, a trucker. Wow. Your friend is brave.
I know.
But yeah, I have to think though that there's got to be like, if I was a dude, like I feel like I could square up with most women. So like I would have like a hard time feeling physical threat from women. So like, is it the same with guys if you're fucking like?
I don't know, a lot of people have guns.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And
no,
like
I do
knives
remind
and
myself
stuff, you
of
know?
And poisons.
And
yeah.
poisons.
And poisons.
You're like
Lots of
not even
poisons.
thinking about poison.
Before we hook up, drink this. You're like, there's a skull and crossbones on the carafe.
Oh man, poison.
Okay, I want to do a couple things. Then
Yeah.
we'll get out of here. I got some game ideas. Like I said, I've liked living in the non-script writing sort of. Where does else does the show go?
Your games are fun.
I want to play a game on here. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yeah, but I didn't retain any of it.
need to get
I
a
don't like
pen.
watching Anne Hathaway.
This game is called Trivia, where seeing the movie would probably help.
Yep.
And it's about the
Great.
movie Interstellar.
Sure.
Amazing.
And so what I'm going to do is, Lindsay, you're going to leave.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask Joel 10 questions about Interstellar.
Okay.
And we're going to see who. Then you're going to come back and do the same questions. We're going to see who can do
Okay.
better. So you head upstairs. I'm going to get a pen.
This is perfect because I have to pee.
Oh, perfect. It should be pretty quick.
Okay. Well, I'll come. Okay.
We'll yell.
Yeah.
But I might still be peeing. But yeah.
I don't think you'll still be peeing. Oh, she was talking about how long it takes. Okay. This will be interesting because you've seen
Bits and pieces.
what you think.
And
you've
I've been
seen.
talked to about this movie
Yeah.
so many times.
It is. I make like fake movie comedy videos for whatever my TikTok idea is.
Yeah.
And you get onto movie talk. The kids call it movie talk, where I see all the real movie things because it feeds it to me. And it Interstellar is everyone's. It's like the thing if you're 19, this is cool to be your favorite movie. Where I think maybe Fight Club.
Fight Club. I think Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko.
was
Yes,
a big
that
one
is
for
even
me.
better. That is
Yeah.
Donnie Darko is like.
Yeah.
It was the first movie to be really cool to be your favorite movie.
Exactly.
Little Miss Sunshine felt in that same sort of vein of like
Garden State.
you know about
certainly,
movies you
yeah.
don't think everyone knows about,
Exactly.
but they're wildly successful.
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions.
Okay.
We'll see how close. It'll be closeness. All right.
Okay.
Question 1: what year did Interstellar come out?
I'm gonna say 2017.
Question 2: what year did Interstellar take place at the beginning of the movie?
I'm gonna say 2035.
Question 3: can you name 3 actors in Interstellar?
Yes. Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain.
Perfect. Why does Cooper's daughter Murphy dislike her name?
Because she hates Murphy's Law.
Who directed Interstellar?
Christopher Nolan.
Why does Murph believe there is a ghost in her bedroom?
Because the watch keeps doing something crazy. I know there's a watch.
What conspiracy theory is the government teaching Murph and her classmates as though it is real?
The moon landing was faked.
What anomaly was discovered near Saturn that could help humanity?
A wormhole.
Why couldn't NASA just send robots to scout out prospective planets?
This is never explained.
You want to give it a guess? They do explain it.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Because robots don't have the capacity to love.
Final question. Interstellar won 1 Academy Award. What was it for?
Sound design.
Okay. All right, we'll get Lindsay back down here.
Lindsay! Okay, I'm going to go pee now.
This is perfect timing. And then we'll go over the answers when you get back. Oh, yeah, just don't let her down here. She'll try and escape. All right, now it's just me. Joel did pretty fucking good on this. All right, we'll see how Lindsay does. This is trivia where seeing the movie would probably help with the trivia from that movie. I kind of like this like laid back episode.
Yeah. These cookies are just like the other ones I made the other night, but they're
amazing. Okay. So Joel answered 10 questions about Interstellar. Did you say you have seen it?
But I just haven't. I have no idea.
Sure.
I couldn't give you any information.
I like this. Joel has seen maybe a quarter of it broken up over 40 flights.
Yeah.
And you've seen it probably, but don't remember.
I've definitely seen it. I just don't have no
We'll go through here. 10 questions. What year
Great.
did Interstellar come out?
2022.
What year did Interstellar take place at the beginning of the movie?
2030.
Can you name 3 actors in Interstellar?
Anne Hathaway, Ben Affleck. Yeah, it might not be true.
Well, she said Ben Affleck.
I heard. I won't say.
Anne Hathaway, Ben Affleck, and Alec Baldwin.
You struggled just to name 3 actors, let alone who were in Interstellar. Why does Cooper's daughter Murphy dislike her name? It's a real jump from like practical to impractical
it
questions.
reminds her of her mom.
Who directed Interstellar?
I have no idea.
Why does Murph believe there is a ghost in her bedroom?
Oh, because the parallel universe, because her dad's in the parallel universe pushing books through the bookshelf.
What conspiracy theory is the government teaching Murph and her classmates as though it is real?
That they've never been to space.
What anomaly was discovered near Saturn that could help humanity?
Some electric stuff.
Why couldn't NASA just send robots to scout out prospective planets?
Because they wanted to sacrifice people.
That's dark. Interstellar won 1 Academy Award. What was it for?
It was for Best Anne Hathaway.
All right, let's look at this. We'll review the scores here. What year did Interstellar come out? 2014.
Oh, wow. That's way earlier than. What did you say?
I said 2022.
She said like just a year and a half ago. So Joel's going to get 1 point there for being closer. Let me tally these. What year did Interstellar take place at the beginning of the movie? 2067.
Oh, okay.
2067.
Oh.
I said 2035 and 2030. I'm going to give no points out for that one.
Those
are both
pretty
closer
far.
to this year than it is when it happens.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Can you name 3 actors in Interstellar? That's a yes and a no. Ben Affleck and Alec Baldwin were not in Interstellar, despite having the same shaped head.
Who was it? Jeffrey? No.
Matthew McConaughey.
You even
say
said
Jeff
later
Ross?
on when you were answering a different question, said Matthew McConaughey was in a different universe pushing bugs.
Yeah, you did.
I thought I said her dad.
Oh, maybe
Maybe
yeah.
you did.
Okay,
Maybe we
it
just
was.
pictured
Yeah.
it. Matthew McConaughey, Jessica Chastain, Anne Hathaway, Timothy Chalamet, Topher Grace,
What?
Oh, good
Mackenzie
for
Foy,
Topher.
Michael Caine, and Casey Affleck, John Lithgow.
Oh, you were close. You got one of the Afflecks in there.
Yeah, you did. You got the one you figured would be in stuff.
I was thinking Armageddon, obviously.
Why does Coop's daughter Murphy dislike her name? It is because it reminds her of Murphy's Law.
No way!
Where she thinks Murphy's Law is anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and she feels negative.
Wow.
So that's a surprise point.
Turned into a game
for Joel
where we
Kim
prove
Booster.
that Joel Kim Booster knows movies. better than me.
I don't know movies. I guess I know
The film
tropes.
world.
Yeah, I have.
Tropes.
We used to play a game called "What Did Christopher Nolan Name Women?" And we'll read out some of the names of characters he's given women and things, but it's insane.
Yeah.
Who directed Interstellar? Christopher Nolan. So far, we're not quite to a point here for Lindsay. Why does Murph believe there's ghosts in her bedrooms? Her books keep falling off the shelf.
I
gave you a half point for the watch, though, because that relates as far as her looking up and noticing the books.
Oh, you said something about a watch?
I said something about a
How
watch.
is it that
Yeah.
you haven't seen? I saw it.
No,
I
I will say it's because of this show that I did in Brooklyn that somebody like went through all the dumb things that they hated about this movie, and so I probably absorbed. And this was probably back in like 2016, but like I absorbed a lot from that.
I just like to be clear. I had COVID 3 times, so I'm not responsible for
same.
for name recall. Joel,
I just like to clear. I have COVID now, and that's why I'm not. What conspiracy theory is the government teaching Murph as though it's real and her classmates? The moon landing was faked. Another
Shut
guess
up!
that you got correct.
Whoa.
I heard you guessing it as you said it, and I'm just like, that's incredible. That's exactly what it is. Basically, it wants to deter them from
Space
ambitions
travel.
for space
But
travel.
didn't I say that we've never been to space?
No, I believe you said
Okay, I'm
like
done.
humans breathe underwater or something.
Yeah, I don't think it was really
What anomaly was discovered near Saturn? A wormhole. There's another one.
Fuck yeah.
Jill, this is like
Jesus
actually incredible.
Christ.
Yeah.
So far, the only one you missed, you still got half a point. Why couldn't NASA just send robots? Robots lack the ability to adapt and improvise.
Oh, okay. Well, I was close.
What
You
did you say?
I gave you a half point for saying they don't feel love.
Okay, I get it.
And Interstellar won an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Visual Effects.
Okay, I knew it was one of the technical.
But that's still a like 7.5 out of 10.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
That's
Lindsay, you got one as well.
crazy.
I'm
I'm a movie quiz whiz.
I remember when this won Best Visual Effects, and everyone's like, they really got a realistic image of a black hole. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
I gotta say, I just remember waking up on a plane one day, trying to watch this movie, and I don't even think I got to anyone going to space. Maybe Matthew McConaughey had gone to space at this point, but I just woke up at the end to like Jessica Chastain delivering a monologue, and I was like, wait, she's in this movie?
Yeah.
Mm.
She's older Murph.
Oh, okay.
But it is a lot of like, he's always been pretty good at steering where casting's about to go. Like Timothy Chalamet is so young in this.
Yeah.
I wish Topher Grace was in more things.
Did he do Looper too? Is that him?
Christopher Nolan, no, that is not Fincher, but that's someone
another
who's
bigger
kind of in
guy.
that energy.
Anyways.
All right. The last thing we're going to do here, everyone can look up what Christopher Nolan is named.
Can you give me
female
one? Can you give me
characters.
one name?
None of them are names. They're all like ideas or male names.
Great.
Mm.
I think I have a note in my phone.
I do like the male name for a female.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I want to name my daughter Moses.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was thinking Carter the other day. I was like, Carter's fun. Somebody said Carter, and then I decided I don't like it, but I like that.
I like
style.
Ezra and Moses as girls.
Brand.
Biblical.
Anne Hathaway's character is named Brand. Jessica Chastain is Murph. There's also characters named Man is Matt Damon, but Murph and Brand are the only two named
I
women
vibe with that,
in
to be honest.
Interstellar.
I like that.
Inception was the one I remember. Ariadne, Mal, and I think those are all the women. A Private Nurse. Those are the three named women
Love
in that
that.
movie. But I mean, it's not like the men are like Cobb, Art, Browning. In Tenet, there's a character named the protagonist. The main character, what's Denzel Washington's son's name? Anyways, his character's name is the protagonist, and people call him protagonist.
Oh.
Protag.
Jaden. Jaden Smith.
Okay. Okay.
Willa. So I came up with Christopher Nolan female characters from future movies. Fairly Macabre, I think, is the name of a woman cop. In
That
the
is
movie
a
he's gonna come
that's
out
a
with.
drag name. That's a fucking drag name. if I
Jin
ever heard.
Drinkley and Bort and Wreck.
Yeah.
I think are where they're gonna go. I think Fairly Macabre would be a good drag
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.
Last game
Mm-hmm.
that I want to play, Casablanca,
Okay.
which you hadn't seen. Lindsay, have you seen Casablanca?
No.
I have a famous scene from Casablanca here. I've redacted some of the lines, and I'm going to have the two of you read, filling up in the redactions on
Yeah.
your own.
I just know the famous one. It's like, here's looking at you, Sam.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have recalled that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if my brain's okay.
Have you seen movies? There's no difference for you whether
I-
you have or haven't seen it as far as what you bring.
I know it's really not. It's like actually concerning. But I'm pretty sure I don't have dementia.
So let's see. Joel, Rick, Lindsay, Ilsa. There's no silent letters in Ilsa, right? It's just
No.
Ilsa.
Yeah.
That's not. And then I'll
Lisa, if you're dyslexic.
Lisa and Kirk. And you just fill in whatever you think it probably is for
Okay.
those redactions that I've done in here. It's only about a page, 2 pages.
You're gonna be Renault.
Oh, you know what? I'll cover Renault.
Okay.
I think I can do that for everyone. And All right.
Okay.
This is from Casablanca. I think Casablanca is still up on the board.
Love that. All right.
Famous scene. I'll do the stage directions here. Casablanca, partially redacted. The orderly escorts Laszlo off the direction of the plane. Rick takes the letters of transit out of his pocket and hands them to Renault, who turns and walks towards the hangar.
If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That will make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Smith from the television show, not the movie.
Renault stops dead in his tracks and turns around. Both Ilsa and Renault look at Rick with astonishment.
But why the fuck, Richard?
Because you're so hot that you remind me of Maya Erskine.
I don't understand. Who is Maya Erskine?
I'm a film buff with him. I'm a Childish Gambino fan with him till the very end, even through his new music.
Rick's intention suddenly draws on Ilsa.
No, Richard. No. What in the hell are you talking about when you said through his new music? That felt pointed, right? Last night we said we weren't going to pay for another month of Amazon Prime. You said I was too hasty, and you said they have a lot of good programming like The Boys. Well, I've done a lot of it since then, and it all adds to one thing. Amazon Prime has too much content that no one's ever heard of, and I would rather watch Apple TV Plus. But Richard, the ads on Amazon are so tempting.
You've got to listen to me. Do you have an idea of all the costs of all of our streaming platforms put together? 9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up watching something on Netflix instead. Isn't that true, Lewis?
Renault countersigns the papers. I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're a son of a bitch, but you're right.
I'm such a big fan, actually, of MGM Plus. And inside of us, we both know that streaming platform is not long for this world. You're going to have to settle for the middling content on Amazon Prime. If that plane leaves the ground and we don't have anything downloaded to our iPad, you'll regret it.
But I always have Vanderpump Rules downloaded to my iPad.
One letter is redacted.
Maybe not Vanderpump Rules. Maybe not.
Isn't it crazy how many typos are in the actual literal script?
Yeah.
This is the shooting script just downloaded.
Maybe not something on Bravo, but soon, and I mean soon, we will have a new season of The Valley.
But do we like The Valley?
We'll always like The Valley. We'd lost it until Jax and Brittany were back on our screens. We got it back. The drama of late 30-somethings living in the Valley.
And I said I would never watch another Bravo show.
And you never will. But listen, we have to choose what we will be watching on this flight. We can't share the same iPad again. Where I'm going to, there's no Wi-Fi, so we got to download it now. What I've got to do is connect to the airport Wi-Fi, which is not good for downloading. Ilsa, I'm no good at technology, but it doesn't take much to see that you aren't either, and we won't have anything to do but talk to each other on this long flight. And someday you'll understand that. Now.
Ilsa's eyes well up with tears. Rick puts his hand to her chin and raises her face to meet his own.
Do you want to watch The Good Wife? Really TV focused.
That was the most cohesive version
Yeah.
that I've ever done.
You
of
did
that
say you remembered the
game.
famous lines. Wonderful. It is wild how many typos are in the actual shooting script for the
Yeah.
movie. Although maybe it's just from copying like a Xerox. You know how
Right,
AI would probably
right,
copy
yeah.
a Xerox and make a
Sure.
PDF. But I thought that was beautiful, topical, updated,
Yeah.
SEO friendly.
I loved the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I did
really
too.
wanna watch
I
it.
loved it.
It's great. It's like people complain. They're like, it's not like, how is this to do with the original movie or the original show other than the name? And I'm like, who gives a shit?
Who cares?
It's the only way to get something made. I'm
I
so
know.
glad something good got made by cheating and using the name
Right.
of something
Sorry,
else.
there's good spy couple
Yeah.
the show. Then I am very late to a lot of things, and I want to watch it really bad because I just finished watching Pen 15.
It's yeah. Oh,
Oh,
And I
she's
was
so
like-
good.
I was like, well, I will follow
so
these
incredible
two
to
on
watch.
whatever they do at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point. What
But I'm like, what would you rather have, that or like a rehash of the movie? Like, if we're gonna be trapped in this world where existing IP is the only thing that gets made, I would much rather that them change it and make it different and completely tonally and texturally
Right.
different than the original, rather than
right,
just,
where the title is just to get your email replied
yeah, exactly.
to. I love the idea that people are like, I just didn't feel like Donald Glover was cheating on his real life wife while they made
Yeah.
this. And so I didn't get that energy from it.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Is it more serious?
It is funny. It is serious. It's much more like a
It's
realist,
grounded.
like a quote unquote realistic.
Right, because Mr. and Mrs. Smith is like almost
spy.
pulp,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's grounded in a way that is really
It is like
enjoyable.
this is the version of what these spies would look like today, like really like small, like not big. There's no big action set pieces
Right.
really in it.
It's not matching suit and black dress
No,
all of
no.
the time.
Right, and also people our age in their 30s.
They're our age who look like kind of real people who are doing like the fight choreography is not like they're not superhuman. They're
it's not
like,
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, I mean, I almost touched on this earlier, and we should leave, but about how it is harder to write things with cell phones. Because something like Mad Men, it's very easy to set up
Yeah.
conflict where you can't get a hold of each
No,
other.
absolutely.
And then in the aughts, it's very easy to set up conflict where there's no service. And it's getting harder and harder to show stuff where you're just like, well, they should be on their phones the whole time.
Yeah.
Why are they not on their phones the whole
No,
time?
I mean, literally in Fire Island, I had to have his phone fall in the pool
Right,
immediately.
yes.
Just so that there could be like things that happen. Like a lot of stuff in that movie.
That's
would make
exactly
sense
what I
if
was thinking
that
about.
character had a phone.
Where you're like, you have to eliminate the phone, otherwise there's kind of just people spending some time
I
on
think
it.
we're gonna see a lot more period pieces set in like 2003
Right.
because of that. Because
Yeah.
it's less fun.
Yeah. Phones are just in the way of
Everything.
even this now.
Yeah.
Plus, it wouldn't be realistic if they weren't watching a different thing on their phone during
Yeah,
the
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Like, shouldn't these characters be talking but also have a thing on in the background?
Yes.
That's the new crux of writing. Okay. This was beautiful.
It's so fun.
I know.
Joel Kim Booster, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
If there's
Thanks for
anything,
not making me write anything.
I
this
think,
time.
of course. Ask people to write more. If they're down, they're down. If they're not, they're not. Everyone's busy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find new avenues for this, and I think
This was
is
so
a fun.
fun.
one to
Yeah,
do.
no, this is great.
I think there's going to be a bonus episode out on one of these Thursdays.
Love.
Is there anything that you want to tell people about anywhere?
Which Thursday is this coming on?
This maybe a week from this Thursday, probably.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you're in Chicago, I have shows at the Den Theater on the 14th and 15th of June.
Okay.
I don't think they're sold out yet, which is humiliating to me.
Oh my God.
Den
but yeah.
Theater's a nice size.
No, it's a nice size, but it's literally my hometown.
We got
Um,
Chicago people.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure they get
So
this.
yeah, check those out for sure.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for listening.
I've never seen it.